Someone else buy a house a few years ago, and based on interest rates today and appreciation, they probably couldn't afford their house today.
It's too expensive to buy a house on my own. I'm obviously going to do it with a partner. I can get more. It's an easier journey.
My mortgage just went up by a lot. But when I bought my first house a couple of years ago, it felt totally manageable.
My monthly payment was going to be $1,500 a month because that's what I had said I could afford.
All of my money and being broke again for another week.
I'm struggling too. Under these comments, a lot of people say they wish that they were me. They wish that they were in a financial position as me. I have a nice house, but I'll be honest, just like almost everybody else in America, I'm house poor.
We are now looking at over 30 grand in renovations, and literally for what?
My bathroom has a pipe that is burst behind the wall.
Peanut butter sandwiches living in a 90s model camper with only a microwave.
Today I gave notice because I can't afford to live in my house anymore.
One bedroom that I pay $13.50 a month for.
I bought a house that I couldn't afford about 3 years ago.
People are working full-time, still struggle to afford a place to live. Buying feels impossible for many right now. Renting can take a massive chunk of the paycheck, and many families are being forced to make a hard decision they never expected. The American housing problem, it may be deeper than it seems. And if you guys have any information, drop it below the comments so we know what's going on, because a lot of people seem to be losing their house left and right, or they will buy the house in a high interest rate. That's ridiculous. And if you are new here, make sure you subscribe, share, like, and don't forget to hype me up, hype me up, hype me up. Let's check out this video.
There's going to be a massive housing collapse. I just watched Good Morning America, and they had a segment on how nationwide there's been so many homes that are going to foreclosure. And I've been seeing a lot of creators on this app, particularly in Texas and like the southern states, just saying that there's like so many homes going into foreclosure. We are being gaslighted by this administration regarding not only the housing market, but also the economy, because everyone's saying, oh, everything's great. Jobs are booming. It is not. So many people are jobless right now. And it's not because they're lazy. I've been hearing people saying they're applying to Walmart and they're not even getting that job. And before anyone thinks I'm like fear mongering, I promise you, as a millennial, we are a generation that is taught to not only read, watch the news, but also like back your shit up. And look at this. ABC News is reporting that foreclosure homes are on the rise. Now, why is this happening? They said that foreclosure filing increased 71% between 2020 and 2025. They're saying it's because of higher mortgage rates, property taxes that continue to increase, higher costs of home insurance, and then also the end of pandemic era protection. They said that Florida had the highest rates of foreclosure, along with New Jersey, Delaware, Nevada, South Carolina, Illinois, California, Maryland, Ohio, and Arizona. I'm telling you guys, be prepared. And this could be a good thing for millennials. Maybe it'll drive the housing market to lower so we can actually afford a fucking home. But I'm telling you guys, be prepared, because we're headed for like a big economics collapse. And before anyone thinks like, oh no, it'll never happen. Well, they interviewed this girl. Her name is Emily Arner. And she was a mother of 3 working as a flight attendant. She said she bought a house in Arizona. And she was so excited because it had a big backyard. The house was beautiful. And then her and her husband purchased it. Then what happened? Well, in 2025, her husband lost his job. And then she could not afford the mortgage. They tried everything, and eventually they foreclosed on their home. Things like this can happen to anyone. And right now, the job market is so unstable. People are losing their jobs left to right. Then they can't find a job. Our jobs are going to AI. So I'm telling you right now, just be prepared. You have been warned.
We recently bought a house and we just got a call from Rolex. And everybody knows that when Rolex calls, you answer because they'll never call again. So now we're on our way to go pick up the watch that has been on our registry for a few years now. And I wanted to bring you guys with me. So which watch do you have?
Ruby.
What watch are we getting?
The Explorer 2, white tile.
We have a 2:45 appointment time, so we're actually walking up right now. The card has been swiped. Officially broke again.
My pleasure.
That's it. We got it. Thanks for coming along with us. Okay, bye.
Hearing women say online, well, it's too expensive to buy a house on my own. I'm obviously going to do it with a partner. I can get more. It's an easier journey. We'll be able to get more for our money. It absolutely makes sense. I had the same mentality. But the same women probably aren't thinking of the consequences of when that ends, or if it ends, then how do they untangle that? What do they have left? They're then going to have to buy a house on their own again as well, and they won't have the first time buyer advantage and all these other things that they're talking about that they can get with their partner. So I just find it hard because I used to have that mentality as well. And obviously, when I lost it all, that's when I can then share, oh, I'm not going to make that same mistake. And yes, it is incredibly hard to do it on your own. I am aware. I'm not delusional and just think everyone can go out and buy it on their own, whether they've got a heavy deposit, but actually their salary is not high enough in order to get the mortgage borrowing that they need. I am not silly. But at the same time, there are ways around it. When you can buy on your own, yes, there will be sacrifices. You might have to buy geographically in a different location to get a home for yourself. You might have to go and do a shared ownership, which does have pros and cons. There's other ways around it. But the fact that so many women just automatically go to, well, it's so hard to do it on my own. Obviously, I'm going to do it with a partner. The only way I can do it is with a partner, shows that self-concept and that mentality that is how we've been conditioned, that that's the only way we can achieve those things like buying a home. We can only do it with a partner. We can only do it with someone by ourselves that is going to make it a bit more comfortable and a bit more of an easy ride. Like, no. And I'm coming from a place of having that mindset, doing that thing, and then losing money, losing out, don't have that first-time buyer advantage anymore. All those things because I did it with someone. And again, those women might turn to me and say, well, I've got a great man that wouldn't do that, and if we split, it'll be amicable. Then go on and do it. I can't speak to those women. I can't convince them. I can only speak to the women that understand that, yes, I am determined to do things on my own because I do not depend on someone else, and let alone a man. It's the same way as if I want to go on holiday and it's expensive. It's the same price. The room is the same price for a double bed in a hotel, whether you're going with someone or you're going on your own. I'm going to go on my own. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I want to bring someone else, so then it's cheaper. It's a completely different experience then, isn't it? Because I'm not going on a solo, luscious trip. I'm going with someone else. If you have the mentality of you can only do things when you have someone to do it with because it makes it easier for you or more affordable for you, that is a systemic issue. That's not an issue within me saying go and buy it on your own if you can. And if you're really determined, you will make it happen.
Well, I can't afford my house anymore, but not because I lost a job. I actually got a raise. My mortgage just went up by a lot. But when I bought my first house a couple of years ago, it felt totally manageable. Starter home, modest neighborhood, nothing fancy, and my payment back then was around $1,600 a month. So it was comfortable, especially for a first-time buyer. Then out of nowhere, my payment jumped to over $2,400 a month, just like that. No crazy upgrades, nothing extravagant, just a normal starter home. It hit me. A lot of this could have been avoided if I had gone the extra step to shop my mortgage. So I started stressing and doing research online, trying to figure out if there was any way to lower my payments. And then that's when I came across Fincast on a Reddit thread for first-time home buyers. You upload your loan estimate, and then it shows you real offers from multiple lenders side by side. People are saving hundreds of dollars a month doing this. Money you could use for repairs, furniture, or just breathing room in your budget. Platforms like this are so smart. They make it easy to protect yourself from surprise increases and make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. I didn't know this existed when I bought my house, but I'm definitely thinking ahead. When it's time to refinance, I'll be using it. Lesson learned, don't just assume your mortgage is set in stone. Tools like Fincast were created for a reason because of these holes in the system. And taking advantage of them can save you some serious money.
Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of a longer video this time. But I think, I can't afford to live here anymore. I have a falling down one bedroom that I pay $13.50 a month for. That's a lot of money to me. And in Seattle, I am pretty much living paycheck to paycheck, whereas in a lot of other places I would be living pretty well. But of course that's changing, right? Because a lot of cities are just getting more and more expensive and pushing people out. Especially with remote workers and stuff like that. And I'm not on here on TikTok like claiming that I know anything or that I have answers to anything, but I am on here saying that it doesn't feel right. Like, there are so many beautiful things in this city, so many beautiful places, and it doesn't feel right that we can't all enjoy them and we can't all afford to live in a place like this. And also, you know, living amongst this environment where there are just like so many beautiful houses, nice cars, etc., it really makes me feel like I need to have those things. Like, I need to have a bigger house, I need to have a nicer car, I need to buy more things, when actually, like, I don't need those things to be happy. And those things, like, ultimately aren't going to bring me happiness. It's my relationships and how fulfilled I feel with my work and all of that that's going to make me happy. And, you know, I've just been thinking about these like outbidding wars that people get into, buying houses where they're just like paying hundreds of thousands of dollars over the asking price so that they can get a house, and just all this money that people have, and what it means to spend that much money on a house when there's so many other things we could be doing with that money, and what it means to live in a city where there's just this natural beauty and abundance, but it's just full of people seeking these material pleasures and material status symbols. And I don't know, it just feels wrong, you know. Anyways, I went to Florida to go see my new school. It's in Tallahassee. And when I was there, I was just like, wow, all these people are like me. They're just like, you know, kind of middle class people, maybe like middle/lower class, and still beautiful, still nice, but they don't need like a 10-bedroom house. They don't need 10 nannies. They don't need, you know, all this stuff. And I don't know, you know, like I said, I'm not saying I know the answers to any of this, because I don't, but I'll say it again, that it just feels wrong that people can't live here, and that there are so many homeless people sleeping on the sidewalks, and that I can't afford to live in my hometown anymore. It doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right at all.
Just because you own a home does not mean that you cannot get priced out of the home that you supposedly own. As we all know, in the US, most of us don't really own anything. I bought my house in 2022 in August, and my monthly payment was going to be $1,500 a month because that's what I had said I could afford. Okay? Since 2022 August, we're now in 2026, almost 4 years later, I just got notice that my mortgage will be $2,800 a month. Since 2022, my income has remained pretty much the same. Maybe it's gone up by, let's just say, 10 grand or so. Not that much. But I'm saying this for people that are considering buying a home, that it is possible that you can still get priced out. Mine is because my insurance went up. My insurance per year is $5,500. Why? Good question. It's gone up every year, of course, as it normally does. However, I had 2 incidences caused by weather and storm damage that had nothing to do with anything I did. And ever since then, my premiums have gone up. I live in a big city, so it's already naturally a little bit more expensive than when you live like in the burbs. But between that and the rise of property taxes, I'm getting priced out of the home that I bought thinking that I could afford it. Genuinely, I don't know what to do. I did just have a conversation with my mortgage company about this, and they're like, you obviously need to shop for new insurance, but every quote that I'm getting is about the same as that. I can't afford to pay almost $3,000 a month for not a house that even it's not even worth $3,000 a month, guys. It's a beautiful house, but it's not worth $3,000 a month. It's very frustrating to try to commit to a place, commit to a mortgage, knowing what you could afford. I definitely had a max. I knew it was never going to stay at $1,500. This is not my first time owning a home. This is not my first time. This is my second time owning a house. And I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm genuinely afraid that I might be in a position where I can't afford this house anymore and I have to let it go.
No, honestly, I just have to rant about my new build house depression. My bathroom has a pipe that is burst behind the wall. The wall's made of plaster. So currently the wall is saturated with water. It's been like this for a few days, but they don't have the necessary team available to come out and fix the issue. You know why? Because this area has decided to build a magnitude of new build properties that could not withstand the force of hurricane or the storm burst winds. So to make myself feel better about the house's dilapidated condition that it's currently in, because why? The window was broken for so long that the house got moisture. Now there's cracks everywhere. The whole house needs plastering. Then now the bathroom's falling to pieces. The brand new bathroom. The bathroom's not even 2 years old. Fresh installed bathroom. It's fallen to pieces. The bath panel has expanded in size. Why? Saturated with water because the pipe has burst behind the wall. Why would you cover in the pipe? Did you never think that at some point you might have to fix it? I'm just wondering when they make these houses so aesthetically pleasing, where the logic is. Because why would you case in pipes that you might one day have to access? Furthermore, why would you put them behind a paper mache wall? So now I've got a new fridge, I've got a new freezer, I've got a new washing machine just to make myself feel better. Now I need some black handles for my cupboards to also make myself feel better. And then in my front room, I have 9 double plug sockets. So I want silver plug casings, but I've got to buy 9. They're £17 each. And then the light switch ones. Why is there 2 light switches in the front room? These things are just starting to bug me about this new build house that I thought was so aesthetically pleasing. And I'm very grateful to have a roof over my head. There's nothing more that I'm more grateful for than this house. But I'm upset. I'm upset. And now I've overspent because of impulse. Well, I haven't really overspent. I've just spent because of impulse. Having mental health is expensive. Having ADHD is expensive. It's just expensive because to overcome certain things, you have to do impulsive things. And I can't.
Anyone else buy a house a few years ago and based on interest rates today and appreciation, they probably couldn't afford their house today? Because I know that if my house was for sale today, I probably couldn't afford it. And that is wild. Just a thought. Have a good one, guys. Hang in there.
Mainers, this one's for the parents. How are we actually affording rent right now? I'm 54. I've got 2 kids. Both moved back home with me. Rent is $25.06 a month. That's a family trying to keep a roof over their head and keep the lights on. And I'm not alone. A record 25 million adults under 35 are living with their parents right now, and most of them have jobs. Having a job isn't enough anymore. You need to make about $67,000 a year to afford a 2-bedroom rental in Maine without drowning in it. The average Maine renter makes $18 an hour. That's not even close. Even our own governor said it. She proposed relief checks this year because grocery and goods prices are climbing due to the tariffs. This isn't a talking point. The governor said it. These are the same tariffs Paul LePage told Fox News he's all for, and he's running for Congress on that record. I need this fixed because my kids did everything right and still can't afford to move out. If any other parents have real strategies that are actually working, tell me because I'm running out of them.
Our roof needs replaced. How much is this going to cost? That'll be $10,000. The septic is backing up. What is this going to cost? $10,000. The air conditioning is broken. How much is that going to cost? That'll be $10,000. I need to buy a new fridge. What do those cost now? $10,000.
We bought an ugly house and we can't afford to renovate all of it right away. It's not really ugly. It's actually really charming. It has really, really cute aspects and really, really cute corners. It's just super outdated and has ugly tile and just people who lived in the house never did anything to it. Right now, my daughter and I are just enjoying some time outside and I can't wait for it to one day be magical. But look at this backyard. There is so much potential and I cannot wait to take you guys on the journey of just where this house is going to be and how I'm going to make this a magical childhood home for my baby. We're just chilling. There's no shade. Covered by a baby umbrella, but eventually I just have so much vision for this house. It's just going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. So I got to get to work.
The housing market in 2026 is going to suck, and it's probably going to be worse than it was in 2025. Yesterday, the 30-year fixed rate average hit 6.38%, and the 15-year fixed rate average hit 5.82%. Now, this is only 1 month after the 30-year fixed rate average was below 6% for the first time in years. And honestly, this is all because of what's going on in Iran right now because of rising oil prices and inflation expectations. We're expected to see 4.2% inflation this year and no rate cuts from the Fed. So that means a lot of investors are dumping US Treasuries, and that means interest rates are going up on mortgages. Redfin actually did a survey earlier this month and found that most respondents thought that the war wasn't going to affect their buying plans, but still found that 25% of Americans are canceling big purchase plans like trying to buy a new house or a new car. The chief economist at Zillow also said that these rates can delay home buying for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. So that means we could see peak home buying at the summer or even the fall this year. But if these rates stay elevated at where they're at, it'll essentially just cause buyers to give up until next year. And they also said it's not going to tank the market, which I also agree with, because I think we're going to see very low inventory turnover and thus not very much price discovery when it comes to housing prices across the US. This also affects any plans that people may have had to refinance their houses because with rates going up, there's essentially no point to refinance their house. So honestly, I think we're going to see a very, very stagnant housing market this year, but I don't think we're going to see much price change at all because essentially homeowners want to hold on to the equity that they have and they can't afford to move anywhere anyway because interest rates are still too elevated. And this essentially just locks out first-time homebuyers for another year because borrowing costs are too expensive.
I'm about to expose myself, but even if it helps just one person, then it's worth it to me. This is very embarrassing for me to be sharing, but I wanted to show you guys what's going on in my life right now. I've been on Netflix reality TV. I have over 2 million followers, and to the outside world, people who just follow me on social media, they always assume that I have everything together, and it's not true. First of all, let me just show you my house and then I'm going to explain everything. This is my guest bathroom. This is my living room. This is my kitchen. This is my pool area. So here's the story. Back in November, my husband and I decided that we wanted to buy a house. When I tell you, not only have construction workers taken advantage of my lack of knowledge about the value of renovations, but also the amount of things that literally broke, flooded, just everything started falling apart as soon as we bought this house. It's like the previous owners knew that it was falling apart, sold it at a high price just to get rid of it, and then now we're left with literally a house that is completely falling apart. I have had days where in the middle of the day, I just have gotten overwhelmed and started tearing up because I work from home. So I'm trying to focus on business and my work, and my house is falling apart. I have nowhere to like zen out. But this pool recently is the straw that broke the camel's back for me. We are now looking at over 30 grand in renovations, and literally for what? For no reason other than like just everything started falling apart. The pool is not usable. We literally have to do an entire renovation in order to use it again and replace the pump, which I didn't even include the price of the pump in that 30 grand that I just quoted. Moral of the story is I just feel so in over my head, and with inflation and everything that's happening, I just want to advise people who are buying a new home and planning on fixing and flipping, make sure that you do your due diligence and really check if your home is in good condition before you buy. We had a home inspector tell us that everything was fine. And then as soon as we moved in, everything started falling apart. The other reason for making this post, if you've made it this far along in the video, is because I don't want people to have a false perception of like celebrities and influencers living a perfect life. This house has drained my bank account. It has drained my energy, and it's put strain and stress on my marriage. And for anyone out there who's struggling with the same thing, maybe not in the housing market, but maybe just struggling with something like this that's draining your bank account, draining your energy, and even affecting your mental health or your relationships, take a deep breath. I'm going through it too, and you just got to take it one day at a time. Today, I don't even know what task I'm going to need to complete in order to make this house in a livable position, but I'm taking it one step at a time, and that's really all I can do. I don't know how I'm going to drop 30 grand on renovations, but I'm taking it one step at a time, and that's all I can do. And lastly, for anyone that's in the Arizona area, if you're looking to do some renos on a house and you're going to give me a good price, let me know.
I can't buy a house in today's market. Everything is just so expensive. No, you just don't know how to manage your fucking money, buddy. The first house I bought was whenever the housing prices went up, and at the time I was working a shitty fucking less than $20 fucking an hour job, and I was eating peanut butter sandwiches, living in a 90s model camper with only a microwave. The fucking lights in the camper didn't even work. It was a 90s model. I had to plug in lamps to get fucking light. I had no internet. I had a shitty TV with scratches all over it, putting DVDs in a DVD player that I done watched the same DVDs fucking 20 times that week. All right. You're going out to fucking eat and spending money that you don't need to be fucking spending and vacation and buying this chain and that chain and eating out when you need to be the one serving the motherfucker because you're poor. You don't fucking deserve to be going out and eat, and you want to buy these bitches rings and shit. The poorest motherfuckers will buy their bitch the most expensive fucking ring when they get fucking married. Me and my woman, look, we knew we wanted to have shit, all right? So we saved our fucking money. That shit's ignorant as shit. Quit going out to fucking eat. Quit spending your money on fucking bullshit. If you got to do without the internet and do without all this, and you want to look rich, if you want to look rich, you're going to be fucking poor, all right? Make some fucking money. I did that shit on less than $20 an hour, and I didn't buy my fucking house 10 years ago whenever they were dirt fucking cheap. And whenever I bought a house, the interest rates were 8 fucking percent. All right? Save your fucking money. Quit fucking spending it. You spend it on bullshit, that's why you ain't got a fucking house. That's what it is. Spend it on bullshit. You ain't never gonna have none. If you want to go out and buy brand new shit on fucking loans with your shitty job or your fucking good job, there's people with good jobs can't even get a fucking house because they fucked themselves off. We know you ain't got no fucking money, buddy. I could walk into a fucking place and you'd be like, this dude is poor as shit. Bitch, I got $60,000 in the bank account and I work less than $20 an hour. They ain't no excuse. Quit getting in fucking debt and fucking live within your means. I live way below my means. I could have fucking ate a fucking fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I could have got a one-eye burner. I said, fuck it, I'll eat dollar shit from the fucking Dollar Tree in the microwave. There ain't no fucking excuses. Y'all just ain't shit. And that's how you grew up. I can't blame you on it. That's how you were taught. Spend all my fucking money on shit I don't need and then complain that I can't afford a fucking house.
It's a little concerning because the foreclosure rate year to year nationwide from 2025 to this year is up 21%. The problem with that is that it's already an extremely high number of foreclosures, but that's not the actual foreclosure rate. And I'll tell you why. Banks right now don't know what to do. They're holding on to homes way past the amount of time they should be instead of just foreclosing on them because they don't know what to do with the amount and the number of empty homes that would be sitting that won't be able to resell. So you take a already listed and evaluated 21% foreclosure home rate, and you need to probably, I wouldn't say necessarily double it, but at least add another 10% on top of that for the homes that should be in foreclosure that haven't been, that are sitting in the bank.
Today, I gave notice because I can't afford to live in my house anymore. I moved to Tulsa a couple years ago, but I still own property in Oregon, which I have a mortgage on. My mom lives there, and my expenses are just so high, I cannot afford to pay all of them. My health insurance this year went up to $1,400 a month, plus all of the co-payments and out-of-pocket maximum, and I will spend easily $20,000 this year on healthcare. And of course, I'm working less. I've always had hustle, and I know I'll figure it out. But I'm not going to lie, it's pretty scary, and it's been pretty scary for a long time. I haven't been able to do much or go many places because I do know how to be poor, but I just wish sometimes that it would
be a little easier. Oh, thank you, sweet baby.
Well, I can't afford my house anymore. Not because I lost my job, I actually got a raise. My mortgage just went up by so much though. First bought the house a couple years ago. It felt totally manageable. Starter home, modest neighborhood, nothing fancy. Payment back then was around $1,600 per month. It's comfortable, especially for a first-time home buyer. And then out of nowhere, my payment jumped to $2,400 a month. I was like, when I saw it, no crazy upgrades or nothing extravagant going on. Just a normal starter home. Hit me right then that if I just had gone through the step of shopping my mortgage, none of this would be happening. I really started to stress out and I started to do some research to see if there was any way I could lower my payment. That's when I came across Fincast on a Reddit thread for first-time homebuyer. This website where you upload your loan estimate and a ton of vetted lenders will compete to give you the best possible interest rate. We're seeing real offers from multiple lenders side by side. People are saving hundreds of dollars a month by doing this. Money that you could use for repairs, for furniture, just having breathing room in your budget. Forms like this are so smart. Make it so easy to protect yourself from these surprise increases and make sure that you're getting the best mortgage possible. Didn't know that this existed when I bought my house. I'm definitely thinking ahead when it's time to refinance. I will be using it. Lesson learned, don't assume that your mortgage is just set in stone. Tools like Fincast were created for a reason because there's holes in the system. Taking advantage of them can save you serious money.
This is the reality of looking at houses in the year of 2026. The house I'm about to show you is listed for $420,000. At maximum, this should be $200,000 max. Okay, no hate to the previous owners at all, but this is the kitchen. Another angle, as you can see, there is enough counter space for a bowl, if that. This appears to be a Stranger Things themed room. I just think when listing a house, maybe take that down. Or is that AI? I don't know, but it's interesting. Here's another bedroom. Honestly, if all the bedrooms look like this, I would say that this house has a lot of potential, but unfortunately that is just not the case. I have no idea what's happening on the walls, but here is another room. Yeah. I guess the one good thing about this listing is what you see in the pictures is what you're going to get. Nothing about it is deceiving, if you know what I mean. Here is the bathroom. And here we are entering the Conjuring basement. Like this may have been where the movie was filmed. $420,000 for that house. And that is why I will be renting for the rest of my life.
People keep waiting for the housing market to crash. But when you actually look at the data, this market is one of the most resilient of our lifetimes. Here's why. Back in 2008, homeowner equity and homeowner debt were exactly the same. And that's not a good thing. It meant homeowners had very little to fall back on if they ran into any trouble. That's what made the crash so devastating. But if you look at today, equity is at $35 trillion and debt is at $14 trillion. That tells me that homeowners aren't stuck. They have equity built up in their homes, which means if they fall on hard times and they need to sell, many of those people could. They have a way out and they have a cushion. So this isn't a broken market and it isn't a crash. We still have a very strong foundation. And if worries about a crash have been keeping you on the sidelines, it might be time to rethink that and have a conversation about your next move.
Hello. I want to set the record straight for the situation that I am living in. So I bought a house that I couldn't afford about 3 years ago. And let me give you a little bit more details than that, like the full story. So I put my house on the market in May of 2022. And in order to put my house on the market, we had to get out of the house because I have 3 children. There are 5 of us that are living in a house, and it was just impossible to keep clean and to be able to show the house while we were living there. So we went on a remote camping trip, something cheap, got out of the house, and we were away from any sort of cell signal. While we were gone, we sold the house. Yay. But also the interest rates doubled essentially. We had like a 2.5% interest rate and interest rates went to 5.5, 6 when we got back and rejoined society. So we had a very, 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 very small area of land to look for a house. So just for reference, I live in a very large metro area, a city, And in order for my children to stay in the same school district, we could only be in 1 square mile radius. If we went outside of those borders, we would be uprooting my 3 children from school. And it was already a really challenging time because COVID, where we were, was wrapping up. Kids were going back to school. And so it was already a lot of moving parts and instability for my children. And so we wanted to keep things as stable as we could. So we did not want to change school districts. So we only had a 1 square mile area that we could look at. When interest rates doubled, no one put their house on the market. So we were frozen. There were no houses popping up for sale. We had already sold our house. We looked for rentals. There were no rentals. It's very, very cutthroat to get a rental property. I did it. I did it years ago before we broke into the housing market, but it's very hard. I mean, you have to hear from a friend about another person who's about to like move out of an apartment or a house that's being rented. It's very difficult to get a rental. If you're like limited by area and looking for something very specific. So we looked for rentals. There were none in our area. There was 2 houses that went on the market while we were looking. And one of them was $500,000 cash only, non-mortgageable, like just ridiculous things. So the house that we ended up purchasing went on the market at the very top of our budget. We put a bid on it, but then we got into a bidding war. It drove up the cost by about $200,000. And we won, but we didn't agree to it quite yet. We gave it a lot of time. We actually negotiated with the buyer of our old home so that we negotiated rent back so that we could stay in our house a little bit longer just to try to see if there's anything else that popped up on the market. Nothing did. So we ultimately decided, okay, let's take out the mortgage for the amount that we said that we could afford. We was the top of our amount that we would be willing to pay, but that we could afford. Let's take out a traditional mortgage for that and then get creative to make up for the extra $200,000. So with the intent of working like absolute insanity, working overtime to try to pay down that $200,000 as quick as possible. So the only way to get to a comfortable life for me is to pay that $200,000 down as fast as possible. So that's why I'm working 70 hours a week, because I want to get to the point where I just can work full time and that's it. So I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm in a worse situation than I am. I know there are much worse people out there, like people in $200,000 consumer credit. I never have been claiming that is my situation. I put myself into this situation. It's all my own fault. And so I am going to dig my way out of it. That's all there is to it. And the way forward is by working a ton of overtime. So it's a little bit more of the story, because a lot of people were saying like, this isn't making sense, or file for bankruptcy. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep working. So join me on my journey to watch me pay down all of this house. And if you don't like it, don't watch. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to file for bankruptcy, so don't follow to watch for that. But I will pay down this mortgage. I will pay it off early. I'm just going to work like a mad woman in the meantime. So yeah, stick around. Women empower women. Come on. Like, let's be there for each other. We can do this. We can do hard things.
You know, I'm sitting at the ATM about to make my house payment after I just worked in 90 plus degree weather, shitty, dirty fucking warehouse, and got paid not even $700 for the week after taxes and everything. And now I got to give all of it to the ATM for my house payment. I really don't want to deposit this. I really don't feel like giving over all of my money and being broke again for another week. What gets me even more pissed off is I'm a single mom. Okay, 2 baby daddies, 3 kids that I have. None of them pay a fucking dime, never have. The state never made them either. So here I am scraping just to put gas in the car and to make it week to week. Scraping to just put a tiny bit of food in the house because everything's fucking outrageous. And they're buying new cars, doing whatever the fuck they're doing, living life, not worrying about the kids. It's how we live as single parents. I wish I could just be like, no, I'm not fucking paying it. He should pay it because it's housing his fucking kids. I don't care. Split it between the fucking both of them for all I give a fuck. Since you don't pay child support, maybe you should pay for them to live in the fucking house. You know what? That should be it. Since men across the board, like, it doesn't matter what state, there's a bunch of them that don't want to pay for their children because they feel like they shouldn't have to. So you know what I feel like? For someone that's paid for all of them, their entire life, all on my own, by themselves, by myself, they eat more than I can fucking supply. Like, I should be able to say, fuck you, and they should pay for the house payment. How about that? How about you pay my house payment and I'll pay for the children to eat and clothes and whatever. I think that's a fair deal. What do you think?
Okay, this is not okay. This is super frustrating. Can you guys see this? This is flooring in my kitchen. And it is like coming apart. And this is not the only spot, like it has this little ding in it. But like everywhere it is coming apart. I'm in a condo. It's 2.5 years old, you guys. And the flooring is doing this. Stuff has turned into crap. It's all falling apart. And you know what? I can't even fix it because groceries and clothes for my growing kids come first. And who has money for a house to get fixed? Super frustrating that this happens, right, moms? We have stuff that really needs to be taken care of, but where's the money going to come from? So if you're in this situation, like and follow me, trying to give tips and ideas on things that you can do to earn money from home so you can still be at home with your cute kiddos and still be able to survive without feeling so like you're drowning, is what it feels like when you just feel drowning. And you know, if you know, you know, right? So like and follow me, comment, ask questions. I did start the roadmap course. I'm in module 4 where it starts talking about branding. So far, I will say it's a good business builder. So it's more like the business programs that I did before, but on a $500 scale, where I spent a few thousand on those other programs. This is a watered down version, but it still gives a lot of good information. So far I'm liking that aspect of it, that it probably is good for your money. So you're not spending thousands on building an online business, but yeah, it just gives another option for you. Again, I recommend Rover. I recommend affiliate marketing.
I'm struggling too. Under these comments, a lot of people say they wish that they were me. They wish that they were in a financial position as me. I have a nice house, but I'll be honest, just like almost everybody else in America, I'm house poor. My mortgage is a lot compared to what I bring in. Everybody assumes that I must make $250,000 a year, that I have a really nice income. No, I say that I probably make lower middle class for the state of Virginia. I don't make as much as people think. So things are hard. Things are tight. When I talk about living below your means, I do. I live below my means. I probably can get one really nice thing one time, And that's why I spend more the first time, because I know that I can't afford to keep replacing shoes every month if they get tattered. So I just want to say that the advice that I give it because I live it, not because I'm on the outside looking in. I am with you guys in this. And I don't want anybody to see my videos and get discouraged because you feel like you can't reach it because you're not making enough. I too am not making enough, but I use what I have in my resources to get me where I want to go. So I'm saying all of that because I want you guys to know that you're not alone. Everybody is struggling. This economy is really hard right now. Even people that are doing good, the amount of money that I make now, if I was making this back in 2010, I could probably drive around in a Bentley and I could own like 2 houses and rent out one of them. But the reality is money doesn't go as far as it used to. So don't be discouraged if you feel like you can't get ahead. Realize that things are not equipped for you right now, especially if you're doing it by yourself. Just keep your head up, stay above water, make sure all of your bills are always paid on time. If nothing else, your bills always have to be paid. Make sure you're taking care of that. Everything else can wait. Everything else can wait. And yeah, that's it for today.
So I'm on benefits, just in case you didn't know, and I can't afford my rent. Like, I can't afford my rent. So anyway, I applied for something called discretionary housing fund. I'm like, okay, I'll give this a whirl. Don't get me wrong, it's been getting paid, you know what I mean? But it's leaving me short each month. So if I can get extra help, then I'm going to apply for it. I considered this about 3 years ago, and I finally applied for it. And child maintenance. I'm on a roll. So anyway, I applied for it, and they were like, we're considering it, blah, blah, blah. But here's 250 quid for meantime. Thank you. Like, what the fuck? So this is a sign, if you're short each month on your rent, go and apply for the discretionary housing fund. They called it a resilient fund. They gave me it. Big up Leeds. I'm like, cheers. That'll definitely help. It's about to be summer fucking holidays. I don't know how I'm going to afford to feed these fuckers every 5 minutes. I miss them being on formula at Boob. It was so much fucking cheaper. Jesus Christ. They have to be fed every 5 seconds. It's actually mental. It's actually mental. Every day after school, they are like, oh, I'm so starving, mother. Like, I'm like, did you have any lunch? Like, yeah. I'm like, well, you know. But yeah, they just can't survive on fueled. School diet. So yeah, they'll be in a phone. Oh, have you read this book, by the way? Or is it not quite dead yet? It's so good! I now need another book to read, if you have any recommendations. But yeah, 250 quid. Straight in my basket. Cheers. I'm gonna put it aside. But the car. If the car. I don't want to talk about the car.
So I've seen that thing where it's like 25-year-olds can't buy a house and move out because it's not affordable anymore. And I'm 25 and I completely agree. Yeah, like we're broke out here with skin. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not complaining about coming home and having a full-on buffet made for me. I'm not gonna lie. And my brother still lives at home yet. I'm not gonna lie. We be having parties every night. Like, all of our friends come over literally every single night. And my parents love it. So I feel like, is it really that bad? I'm such a people's person. Like, I need people around me all the time. I feel like I would actually feel very lonely if I lived out. Unless I lived with, like, my friends or my man or whatever. Can't lie, I'm dreading the day I have to move out.
Yes, I agree. I think the downturn of the housing market and the unwillingness of people to continue paying high prices to stay in apartments and instead moving home is going to be the catalyst that leads to a rise in multi-generational family homes in America. It will no longer be paying high rents to a landlord. Instead, it will be multiple adults coming forward to maintain a home. I think this is a turning point in America. All around the world, multi-generational homes are sort of the norm, but in America, individualism has been pushed. Our suburban realities was one that promised us sort of a safety net of privacy from other people, including our own family members. Now that changes. Grandma may have to shack up with their child, and the child of that child may have to come home after college to live with their parents again. It is no longer worth it to throw away your money into these luxury apartments, especially when you can't even expect rent to stay the same from year to year. So what's going to happen instead, especially as being in a house becomes more expensive due to property taxes and other expenses,
Adults are going to have to come together to maintain the family home, the base. The late 2020s will be defined by a rise in multi-generational living in America.
On today's episode of I Can't Afford This Shit, we've got this beautiful home. Usually this floor plan goes for about $800,000. Would you believe me if I told you it's only listed for $659,999 with 99 cents? I think they probably listed it that low because the neighbors are real stick in the mud. That was funny. Right as you come inside, holy fucking ceilings. That's fucking tall. You've got a call center right as you walk in. We don't do home offices anymore. We're doing entire call centers that fit like 200 occupants. It's a perfect size for a Shein factory. Over here you've got half a pooper and a little linen closet. Over here you've got another home office. It's the laundry room. Get it? Women. Right across from the 3-car garage entry, you've got hooks. Hooks, Mr. Krabs. Past the garage, you've got a gigantic living room area. This shit is fire. Literally. I'm not allowed to turn those on anymore. I got in trouble. And a beautiful kitchen that is to die for, with appliances in walls and ceilings with balls. This shit beautiful as fuck. Beep. And look at this countertop. So elegant. Getting on counters is how I get my daily tummy time, by the way. Fucking pantry that just keeps going and going. A long ass beautiful covered patio. I could definitely party back here. Backyard has plenty of landscaping. This shit was definitely expensive. It's like long, but in the wrong way. People want it that way. I guess this little spot makes up for it. Anyways, over here you've got this tiny ass door right next to this big ass door that leads you into the primary bedroom with a beautiful view. Look at that view. Are you looking at the fucking view? It's a pretty nice view, right? Right? I'm sorry, it's like 2 p.m. and I still haven't eaten breakfast. The most important meal of the day. I skip it daily. I should really reconsider my diet. Anyways, 2 separate vanities. Can you guess which one is hers and which one is his? You got a stink tub right there, and right behind it a beautiful walk-in shower, a walk-in pooper, and 2 walk-in closets, 1 for clothes and 1 for shoes and purses. Yeah, damn. These houses are so fucking big, they take me like an hour to film. I'm exaggerating, it's like 30 minutes. Anyways, right through this hallway, you've got a full bedroom with a nice sized closet and its own full restroom over here. If you keep coming down this fancy ass hallway, you've got a loft area here. So fucking nice. Another loft area over here. Turn this into a movie room sex dungeon. I don't care what you do in your spare time. What the fuck do you people do to afford these houses? And are you by any chance hiring per se? Remove that wall immediately. 2 more ginormous bedrooms with ginormous closets and a pretty beautiful restroom for both of them to share. Anyways, if you like this fucking beautiful, magnificent ass house, it's pretty fucking cheap right now. So DM me and I'll get you a pretty fucking awesome deal. I can't guarantee they'll replace that tree though.
People can't afford to sell their house. People can't afford to buy their house. I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but this is the reality of the housing market in 2026. I have referred out 3 short sales in the last week alone across the country. North Carolina, Texas, Hawaii. And I've had multiple sellers this year default on payments, go into pre-foreclosure, and I found out as their listing agent when the lender called me. And don't even get me started on condos and townhomes and unwarrantability and HOA fees. They are crushing sellers, homeowners right now. I'm telling you guys, the market is funky, it is off, and it is not just a local thing. Something's happening. Something is shifting, and nobody has money. I've referred out probably 20 short sales this year, and that's when someone's underwater, when they have to sell their property because of financial hardship and they owe more than it's worth. If you're someone, doesn't matter where you are, going through potential foreclosure or short sale, reach out to me. I'll try to see if I can help you. But I'm telling y'all, this market is funky.
Life is unpredictable, especially in 2026. The housing crisis is pushing more people into vehicle dwelling every day. I chose this lifestyle, but for millions of Americans, there's no other choice. The rent is too high, the system isn't working, and honestly, I think the American empire is in decline. Things aren't looking good, so for now I'm rolling with the other nomads. And it's good to know I've got people who have my back. Community matters, especially when the trust is eroding and the moral fabric of this country is slowly unraveling. I am a fellow nomad, and I approve this message.
I own a $3 million property and it is falling apart and my bank is bleeding. Let me just show you. First up, we have this lovely leaking aircon, which we've had fixed 3 times now. Not kidding, this is 6 hours worth. This is like pretty much a full Bunnings bucket filled with water. So I came 1 month ago, gave it a clean, told us no worries. I said, do we need a new one? He said, absolutely not. Then he came back, $300 call out fee, by the way, when it started leaking a month later. And he goes, oh, that's right. I forgot to tell you, you should probably replace your pump. Next is one of my favorites. Headed down to the pond area because we had an ant infestation, which was $400 to fix, by the way. As the Ant-Man is here, heads down to this pond. What does he find? 7,000 tadpoles. Cane toad tadpole. Now, I did my absolute best to get in there myself, but I'm telling you right now, that is not my forte. So I had to call Toad Busters. $300 for tadpole removal, $300 for egg removal, $800 for toad removal. Now, the next one is one of my absolute favorites. Because of the location of where we live, we use gas cylinders. We've been going through a gas cylinder a month, and we've been telling the guy something's going to be wrong because that's a lot of gas. For months now, he's been gaslighting us, telling us that everything is fine, until a new guy comes the other day. He comes out to me as I'm sitting by the pool. Mind you, this all happened on the same day. He says, I've just switched your gas off because you've got a gas leak and your house probably was going to explode. And it's been leaking for months now, and if it was encased in an inside area, you would have gone kapow and you would have all died. I said, what? So he says, no hot water for you today. And I say, well, that's great because I haven't showered yet and I'm so sweaty. I'm sitting out in the sun. I go, it's fine. It's fine. We'll get this fixed. He can't fix it because he's just the guy that delivers. So he tells me that someone's going to call me later. So whilst I'm patiently waiting for that call and I'm still sitting by the pool trying to decompress because I'm already stressed, my electricity bill arrives into my email. I open up that bill, $1,200. I mean, we use a lot of aircon, but we've got solar panels. Sure enough, I checked that little graph. The solar hasn't been working for 3 months. So I call the solar guy and I'm like, hey, can you come over? My solar's not working. And I've got to call the electricity people and be like, why the fuck is my solar not working? Are you trying to stinge me? And then after I'm done just going between the two, dealing with that, I get a call from the gas guy. $700 to fix, can't get there till tomorrow afternoon. This is where I burst into tears. Then go through calling 10 different gas people, trying to find someone to come out today. They're all fucking busy, even though it says same day service. They're all lying. And one guy is great, and then he comes and he takes care of it. God bless that man. Fixes it for $700. Then the solar guy arrives. He checks it out. He tells me absolutely everything is fine and everything's working correctly, but that the bill doesn't make sense and to call the electricity people. So I call them back and I say, hey, what the fuck? It's your guys' fault. They say, no, we just read the data and the data shows that this is just how it is and it's just solar. So I go back to the solar guy and they have informed us the solar thing was on standby. Standby. It's been on standby for 3 months. Who was going to tell us that? Anyway, don't buy a house. It's just highway robbery.
What this boils down to is I don't think I can afford to finish the house, and it doesn't really make sense with where my life is going. So that is where we're at. The last update that you all got from me was that I had just gotten a quote from the contractor for $326,000. Higher than what I wanted it to be. Definitely a stretch for me, but potentially still doable. So I started the process of getting the construction loan through the bank. Now, part of that process is there's a worksheet for the contractor to fill out that has an itemized list of everything that's needed to get the house to 100%. So I sent that to my contractor, and he sent it back a week later with a note that said the last few quotes came in. They were a little higher than planned, but here is the sheet. So I'm thinking, okay, it was 326, maybe it'll be up to 350 now. I don't know. That seems high. It was $447,000. Not only did some things come back higher than planned, there were also items on the list that the contractor had failed to take into consideration when putting together the initial quote for me. I had reached back out to him to see, was this an error? Was there an Excel issue? And he explained that to me. So $447,000 is kind of out of the question for me. For a couple of reasons. First, I am now engaged and we're getting married in the fall. I am moving into his house because it makes more sense for us as a couple and the life that we want to have when we're married. So Elm Street House is going to become a rental property, plus just a place where my friends and family can stay when they come to town. At the $447,000 budget mark, if I had the work done and I refinanced today, it would equate to about a $3,000 mortgage payment. Now, I would have the apartment in there that I could rent out. 1 bedrooms in my area go for about $1,000 a month. So that would take down my contribution to that payment by about $1,000. But that's still $2,000 for me to pay for a house that is not mine. Now, if I was living there, I could swing $2,000. I could, but it's not really realistic for me at this phase in my life to have that additional payment if I'm not living there. So I am trying to figure out where to go from here because I don't have a plan, and I always have a plan. And the universe is not really leaving me many windows of opportunity here. So just in full transparency, I don't know where to go from here with the house. Routes that I'm considering: one, selling the house right now as is, trying to recoup what I paid for it at least, and let someone else who has the money and the time to really bring it back do it. Alternatively, finishing it as a single family and selling it, or as a multifamily and selling it. The only risk that we run there is with the way that the market is looking, the market could be worse in a year than it is now, and we may put in more or put more into it than we can get out of it at the end. So that's a risk. And then the third option is just hold on to it, see if anything changes, see if construction costs go down in the future to where I could finish it and keep it. I just don't know. The waiting is the hardest part for me, I think. And when I bought this house, I had no plans to meet the love of my life, but here we are. I'm so glad that I did. And I just have to keep reminding myself that I'm in this situation because my life outside of Elm Street House got better. Unexpectedly, unplanned, better. So that's why you haven't seen house updates, because I'm kind of at a standstill and I'm trying to figure out where to go next. But I will share any updates as I have them. And if you have questions about any of the information I've shared in this video, I'm happy to answer. I'm sure there will be some. But yeah, I wasn't really looking forward to making this update because I really do want to make everybody happy in this, but I don't know that I'll be able to, and I am just coming to terms with that. So anyway, I hope you're all having a great day.
You work hard, but you still can't afford to fix what's broken in your home. You're grateful, but frustrated. The roof leaks, the kitchen's outdated. Your house feels like a reminder that you're falling behind. And it hurts to admit you can't afford to fix it. If you're struggling to make ends meet, even with a full-time job that you love, I found a system teaching me how to earn online in just 2 hours a day with 100% profit. No tech overwhelm, no bugging friends and family. Fully done for your website, including a 5-step blueprint that works. This system gave me extra income I needed to start renovating without the stress. Drop it already in the comments so I can send you the 5-step blueprint I'm following. Let's rebuild what's broken in that house and your life.
Warning, warning, warning. The housing market is in big trouble in the USA. Starts fell 13.5% year over year. It's one of the lowest levels since mid-2020. You have higher mortgage rates due to inflation. And let me just add, those rates are not going to go down. They're going to go up because we are going to have an interest rate increase. Mark my words. Single family starts are down 15.7%. Apartment construction's down 7.1%. These things are less money in the economy. And also it's a double whammy as we need more homes and apartments built in the USA because we have a bottleneck in the housing market. Every year, people enter where they want to buy a home or rent an apartment. This is just another troubling sign that the U.S. economy is collapsing every single day. Don't forget, home foreclosures are up 21%, and I hear that a lot of banks are not even reporting or doing anything because they don't know what to do yet. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be something we have never seen in our lifetime. And I want to remind you, this was all 100% self-inflicted, sadly.
You didn't buy a home last year because you knew that this year the rates will come down. You knew that once this new guy gets in office, the rates will magically come down. We are now in middle of 2026. The rates have not come down. The new guy is in office, and guess what? Some even predict that the rates will go up. Meanwhile, you have been paying rent. The house you really liked, that house is gone, and the price is even more. I hope Les learned that you cannot control what you can't control, and don't make decisions on things that are out of your control. You know what you can do now, and according to that, you make a decision.
Mortgage rates suck, and you can tell this by new home construction. Resi Club reported that new construction builders are offering up to 13% in concessions. Also, housing permits and housing starts have been trending downward since the end of 2022. And even this year, it is still in a bottoming out phase. I think we're at what's called the bottom of this whole housing transaction crash. The problem is the main driver of the housing crisis that we're in right now is supply. There's just simply not enough supply. Now, mortgage rates were supposed to help maybe keep prices down, kind of curb the inflation. But now you don't even have enough supply getting in there. This is sort of like a Mexican standoff at this point. Real estate's in such a mess right now, and I think it's going to take us years to unravel all of this.
Over 40,000 homes were foreclosed on in January alone of 2026. That's a 32% increase in just the month of January that just passed. Additionally, bankruptcy filings have gone up 14% in the last year. Donald Trump is saying he wants to keep housing prices high to protect people's investment on their homes, but investments on your home don't matter if you're losing your home. We are in a situation where it looks like our elected officials have no idea what's actually happening on the ground to real and regular people, the bulk of the nation that they are serving. Taxes keep going up on homes. Home prices keep getting reevaluated, which makes your taxes go up, and people can't keep up with the taxes. They can't keep up with the increase to their mortgages. They just can't keep up. But according to Donald Trump, we need to keep those home prices high so that people have a return on their investments. But if you keep those home prices high, considering we have a wage discrepancy in the U.S. because the minimum wage hasn't gone up from $7.25 since 10 years ago, even though the price of homes have increased from $200,000 to $400,000 in that same time span, we should protect the investment. And that's that. And before you get my comments saying, oh, but Trump is trying to prevent companies from buying single family homes. Yeah, he's going to sign that executive order. But the loophole to that is that these corporate landlords can just buy up land and create rental subdivisions. That's actually a thing that can happen now. They can just create rental subdivisions because the executive order doesn't put any limit on that from these corporate groups buying up homes and things. So yeah, they may not be able to buy the house that already exists, but they can just build entire communities of rental homes so people would still have to go rent instead of buying homes. But that's me on my soapbox. Welcome to my TED Talk. Y'all have a good night. I think I might hate it here.
I do not know what is going to happen this year, but it is going to be wild. The estimated number of active U.S. homebuyers has officially fallen to its lowest level in recorded history since tracking began. Home sellers outnumber home buyers by 51% across the country. Oh, but wait, there's more. Over 2 million households in the U.S. right now are in some level of mortgage delinquency. Yes, the total number of U.S. households or accounts in some stage of early or serious mortgage delinquency is nearing or exceeding that range. It's actually 2.1 million. As rising living costs push more owners behind. Oh, and by the way, these are levels not seen in over a decade. That means a lot of people are going to be forced into foreclosure. If they're trying to sell their home, there's no buyer. A lot of people are losing their jobs. They can't find employment. They don't have any way to pay for their mortgage. This is not good, you guys. I don't know if you guys have seen the trend. The Amex credit card viral videos. Everybody who has an Amex is saying that suddenly they're receiving a cap on how much they can spend in a month. Now, granted, these people are rich as fuck. A lot of these people are complaining that their cap is $250,000 a month. No, I'm not kidding. But the point is, even the wealthy people, because I've seen 5 of these videos of different random rich people bitching about how they have a cap on how much they can spend on their Amex now, even though they've never paid any late payments. It's because so many people are defaulting on their credit cards. That's the reason. These companies are eating shit. They're not making money. And you know that they need their profits to be like 100 bajillion% or capitalism isn't working. So, you know, it's just going to be a bumpy ride. Buckle up.
Whoop, there it is. Yep. Read it. Read it and weep, as they say. Home listing prices post sharpest drop in 9 years as sellers begin to face reality. And next week, you're going to be facing a huge reality because starting next week, the selling season's over. Yeah, the 4th of July is the end of the selling season. And people are thinking about back to school, back to school, back to school. And yes, home prices are still very, very high and going to continue to drop because the prices that they're at now is not reality. Home prices are going to keep dropping throughout the country because people simply can't afford them. And as long as wages don't go up considerably, home prices have to come down because interest rates aren't coming down anytime soon. So this is a real estate dry spot that is continuing month after month after month after month. Kind of what I told you a few years ago. But now it's starting to decline even faster. Like and follow. We're going to be talking about this a lot because real estate is in big, big trouble. Like and follow for more.
So let me understand this. I can't buy a home because the mortgage rates are too high. I can't rent an apartment because rentals have gone up by 22% since Joe Biden took office. 1-bedroom apartments are like $2,500 now. So if you're middle class and you make minimum wage, or maybe let's say even a couple bucks more than that, and you're working full time, you're bringing home maybe after taxes, $2,000 a month. That's not even enough to pay for your rent, let alone your car payment, or if you're trying to pay your car off, your insurance, to feed yourself, to get your health care, to what you're never going to take a vacation again under these circumstances. Wake up. Is it going to take a stutter, a loss of memory, calling someone the wrong name, or just your pocketbook to get y'all to wake the fuck up? So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, has taken a play out of Gavin Newsom's playbook. She came out and said in an interview that any deep red conservative district that doesn't feel like their representatives are representing them correctly and aren't having enough town halls, she said that she would love to come.
So I'm not sure why no one's talking about this right now, but the U.S. housing market just reached the most unaffordable level in U.S. history. Worse than 2008 crisis. The median cost for a home now is $415,000. 5 years ago, the median cost for a home is $270,000. That's an increase of 54%, while the wages only went up 29%. Think about it like this. You need the household income to be $127,000 just to qualify for the mortgage. The median household income now in the U.S. is $80,000. Not to mention existing home sales in 2025 came in at about $4.1 million. That's the lowest total of sales of homes in 30 years. Honestly, the economy crash is inevitable at this point.
So we've been unsuccessful in finding a place. Yeah, so kids are splitting up, families splitting up. I'm finding somewhere else to go. I don't know. It is what it is. We're all packed up. Everything's in boxes. Tomorrow is the move day. After 2 months of hunting for a house, we can't find anything. We haven't been accepted for anything. It's not that we can't find anything. What I mean by that is we haven't been accepted for a place, I guess you can say. 2026, Australia. We've tried emergency accommodation. There's nothing. There's no spaces available. Caravan parks, there's no spaces available. We went to Department of Housing, all the crisis places. They can't help us because we earn too much, I guess you can say. Yeah. No options for a family in Australia, in Brisbane, in 2026. It is what it is. We're going to have to split up, and that's it. Heartbreaking, but we do what we do, I guess.
All right, Joe, we are now seeing the housing market absolutely fall apart as 227,000 properties were foreclosed on just in the first half of this year. This marks a 21% increase from last year, and we're only halfway through the year. And at the same time, we're also seeing home sellers outnumber home buyers by 630,000, which is now the largest gap ever recorded in history. So I know a lot of people don't like to admit it, but the housing market is clearly collapsing, and it's really just the start. Very simply, people can't afford to pay their bills because of the hyperinflation from the war. And of course, the number one bill is housing, or your mortgage. And when people can't afford to pay their mortgages, they go to sell. But when there's no home buyers willing or able to buy because of the hyperinflation from the war, the market collapses. That's just how it works. Prices simply have to fall to meet the buyers, or you face foreclosure because you can't afford your mortgage. And housing prices are still at the highest levels in history. Inflation adjusted, we're still way higher than the peak of the housing bubble in 2006. So prices have a long way to fall. And you can either drop your prices massively to sell, or you get foreclosed on because you can't afford your mortgage. That's just the situation for a large number of homeowners in America. And what a lot of people don't understand in the housing market is that even if that's not your situation, and like you can afford your mortgage or you even have it paid off, the rest of the market selling or getting foreclosed on means that your housing value just tanks. If everyone around you, all your neighbors, are forced to sell at $500K, your house is no longer $1 million. That's simply how it works. No one is ever going to pay $1 million for your house. And there's also a massive chain reaction too. Not everyone's going to be forced to sell. A lot of people who don't have to sell are still going to rush to sell because they don't want to lose like half their equity. Or, their equity value, that is. That's just how markets work. When the prices start to contract, people just start rushing for the exits because they don't want to lose all their money, which of course causes the prices to contract even more. And another thing to keep in mind is that the boomers are also aging out. So they've been looking to sell. And also, wildly, they're looking to upgrade. Usually you downgrade when you age out, but they're looking to upgrade. So they're going to be extra concerned about, losing half their value. So this bubble is absolutely falling apart, and it's actually going to catch a lot of people by surprise. This is the collapse a lot of people aren't seeing, frankly, because most people in the housing market don't really know what they're doing. They kind of just got there by luck. COVID era, mortgage rates, that kind of stuff. And also the nature of the housing market itself. It's people buy houses to live in. It's a lifestyle choice. A lot of people aren't really factoring in the money part of it. And now, of course, the money part of it is a big deal with the hyperinflation. And of course, that aspect of it also makes the snowball worse. A lot of people are not locked into good rates. A lot of people are locked into bad rates. You bought a house before the inflation hit, and now it hits, you're out. So this is going to spiral a lot worse than people think, and it's going to catch a lot of people by storm.
Ever see a new apartment building and think, this doesn't belong? This Vox article points out that part of America's housing problem isn't just that we need more houses. It's that people resist buildings that they think are ugly. Most people would agree that today's new housing is a far cry from the beautiful brownstones or Spanish-tiled courtyard apartments our cities used to have. But aesthetics really do matter here. If new apartments or duplexes looked like they belong, people would be much more supportive. As someone who's broadly pro-building, I actually think this is something we need to take more seriously. I think city designers need to incentivize buildings that are beautiful, family-friendly, with shared green space that are both practical and attractive. So maybe solving the housing crisis isn't just about building more homes, but building homes we'd actually want to live near.
Yeah, the housing market crash that's about to come, dude, is going to be bigger than 2008, considering if you look at all the numbers, institutional investors look at everything that they're doing. But who the fuck is buying a house with 6.5% interest rate right now? Nobody. So even if you can afford a house, nobody's buying houses. Inventories are fucking starting to skyrocket. And institutional investors are starting to dump all their properties because they see the writing on the wall too. Now, we do have some new legislation in certain states that ban institutional investors from buying properties. So hopefully this is going to be a necessary market reset, dude. So what does that mean? Bro, get your money up. Get your money up. Let this motherfucker crash. So by the time things stabilize, all the institutional investors in all the states where it's not banned by legislation, they're going to, dump property right now, buy it up cheap, and just rinse and repeat the cycle that they always do. But there may be an opportunity for regular ass people to buy a house, hopefully after this motherfucker crashes, and then we get a new administration that knows what the fuck they're doing. And you can buy a house at a reasonable market rate and price. So I don't know. I'm indifferent to shit like this. I'm like, fuck it, bro. Let it crash. Let it fucking crash, dude. Just be prepared that this motherfucker's gonna crash.